Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Dual Destinies. Previously, we managed to clear our client, Juniper Woods, of any wrongdoing, or at least suspicion. We were able to prove that her own stuffed animal just happened to be a match to the fragment that was collected. And, no, wait, it was, the fingerprints on the stuffed animal bits weren't the bomb was hidden in. It was just another stuffed animal that she happened to bring in that day. And with court dismissed, we were feeling good, but unfortunately, we found Apollo unconscious on the ground, a bloodied stone next to him. Someone hit him over the head with it, and that does not bode well. Now it's day 2 of court in this tutorial, so let's get going. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Juniper Woods.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is also ready, Your Honor. Now then, I believe I instructed the prosecution to further their investigation. Were you able to locate the remote switch in question?
I'm afraid the remote switch is still missing, Your Honor.
I must say I'm disappointed, Mr. Payne. Not angry, just disappointed. Ooh! That's so much worse.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Aha! Looks like the prosecution is just as unprepared as I am. That's a nice change.
There is a separate matter, however, that I would like to bring up during this trial.
A separate matter, you say? And what might that be?
I assume you are aware that another incident occurred during yesterday's trial? I'm speaking, of course, of the assault on Mr. Justice in the ruins of courtroom number 4.
Oh, why is he bringing that up? Yes, what a truly harrowing experience it must have been. Poor Mr. Justice.
At the time of the attack, Mr. Justice was not alone. He was with the defendant, Miss Juniper Woods.
He isn't going where I think he's going with this, is he? Oh, this is so slimy.
The prosecution wishes to indict Miss Woods on the charge of Mr. Justice's assault.
Oh, brother. God, that gavel sound just sounds so weak. It's like it's hollow. I don't like it. It's such a small thing to be upset by, but it just sounds so weak and not threatening. Order. Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the incident under deliberation here is the courtroom bombing. The assault on Mr. Justice has nothing to do with this trial.
But I believe there is a connection between this case and Mr. Justice's assault. Please take a moment to consider these facts. Both events occurred in courtroom number 4.
Oh yeah, diagrams.
This is the location in courtroom number 4 where the unconscious Mr. Justice was discovered. As you can see, it's quite close to where Detective Arm's body was found. The question is, why did the culprit feel the need to maliciously attack Mr. Justice?
Why indeed? What do you believe their motive to be, Mr. Payne?
I believe Mr. Justice found something in that courtroom while Miss Woods was with him. Evidence that fingered her as the perpetrator of the bombing.
You mean he found some incriminating evidence?
Precisely, and so I surmise that the defendant picked up a piece of rubble and hit Mr. Justice on the back of the head in order to silence him.
Objection!
Junie would never do such a thing. She was devastated when we found Apollo hurt like that.
Miss Ikes, please control your outbursts.
Ahem. It is the prosecution's belief that by deliberating on Mr. Justice's assault, we will draw ever closer to the truth of the courtroom bombing itself.
Very well. Miss Woods is hereby officially indicted on the charge of assaulting Mr. Justice.
What? Are you listening to Mr. Toupee over there? Toupee.
Although, considering our conversation yesterday,
I think Apollo might have figured something out.
Wonder what it was.
He told me I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper.
Maybe the two incidents really are related after all.
I would like to start by hearing from the defendant herself.
Very well. Bailiff, please bring Miss Woods to the witness stand. Well, I don't believe it for a second.
I'm sorry. I can't seem to stop. Cough.
Miss Woods. Guess she's still really upset about Apollo.
Miss Woods, you went to the ruins of courtroom number 4 with Mr. Justice, did you not? Yes, I did. Good, good. If you would, then, please testify about what happened to the court.
Oh, that's nice. The text was like in physical space and not just on my screen. I bet that looked really cool on the 3DS.
During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing. Apollo stayed with me, and we went to the courtroom ruins together. But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony. Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person?
So, like... So help me understand here, and by help me I mean I guess just listen to my words. So Apollo and Juniper were in the room together amidst the rubble. Presumably a bailiff walked in there and looked at Juniper and said, "Hey, you're summoned, get back in there." Wouldn't Juniper leave with him to be escorted there? Like, the only way this makes sense is if the bailiff was like, "Hey, you're summoned, go back to the room," and then left on his own to leave Juniper to her own devices? Well, that seems like doing a really shitty job, because by all means, that bailiff should have seen, hey, yeah, there's Apollo standing up, hearty and hale. Clearly, Juniper wasn't the one who did it. She couldn't have. Is this a plot hole? Maybe I'm just thinking too hard about it. So Mr. Justice stayed by your side while you were feeling unwell. What an admirable young man. I thought his loud voice was his only outstanding feature.
He may look a little imp at times, but Apollo can be really nice, too.
I hope she didn't hurt her wrist backhanding that one out. But one has to wonder, why did Mr. Justice stay behind in the ruins?
I think Apollo might have figured something out.
Something? What kind of something?
Something to do with the courtroom bombing kind of something, I think.
Oh, new evidence for the case, was it? That's a very big kind of something indeed.
I believe so. He mentioned looking for some evidence when I was called away.
Objection!
Just as I thought, there is a connection between the two incidents. But the defendant has told a very big lie, Your Honor.
What lie is that?
When she learned Mr. Justice would be looking for evidence, she attacked him. She attacked him to give herself the chance to destroy that evidence. No, I never.
Objection!
Miss Woods repaid Mr. Justice's kindness with violence. We found the proof of her foul deed there in the courtroom ruins.
What? Seriously? Huh. Oh boy, okay, No, I don't think that could be... Wait. Hold on. What was the code? Okay, I'm thinking Apollo was trying to write that code, but his handwriting, literal handwriting in this case, is just really crappy. Yeah, that L1 could be the W there. Yeah. Yeah, it just drags. It's L100 L10015R? Oh. That D does not look like a 1. Well, the S looks like a 5. Wait. Oh, do you see that? There's like... Yeah, I see it. Right there. Hopefully I can remember to edit up a zoom up, but right next to the S or 5, there's a little bit more dried blood. Yeah, that's where the R would go. So, really the only foible here is, the weird D that's supposed to be a 1. He was writing the code. It's not Woods. What on earth?
Do you see it? There in front of Mr. Justice's right hand? Witness the message he left us.
It's written in blood. WOODS. Why isn't that?
That's right, Your Honor. It says Woods in capital letters.
What?
I submit that Mr. Justice left us with the name of his attacker before he fainted.
Oh, brother.
No, that can't be true. Why would Apollo write my name? Mr. Wright, the nerve of him leaving that message. Why would he do this?
Hey, don't take it out on me. I don't understand it any more than you do. When we discovered Apollo yesterday... Apollo!
No.
Ah! Yeah, there wasn't any writing. We didn't even have a chance to rush over to him. As soon as security heard Athena scream, they ran in and cordoned off the area. After that, they were there in courtroom number 4 with Apollo the whole time. We couldn't investigate anything ourselves and had to leave everything to the police. Still, I never thought they would find some bloody writing there. Now then, please begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. This'll be good.
During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing.
Hold it!
Do you always cough when you get nervous, Miss Woods?
Yes. Cough, cough.
Mr. Wright, please do not make Miss Woods nervous by pressing her so ruthlessly. But that barely even qualified as a quasi-question.
Let's help her relax with a little small talk before we dive into the cross-examination. You know, ask her about her hobbies and her crushes and stuff.
Okay, maybe not crushes. That'd just stress her out. Her crushes? Really? I don't know about this.
Apollo stayed with me, and we went to the courtroom ruins together.
Hold it!
Why exactly did you go to the courtroom ruins?
We went to look for my medicine to stop my coughing.
Your medicine? Why would your medicine be in courtroom number 4?
I dropped it in the heat of the moment.
That makes sense.
Bumrap Riney, he was keeping my medicine safe for me.
Oh, I guess it had a storage space inside it, didn't it?
He has a little compartment that I can put things in, you see?
Man, I should have thought of that. And Phony Fanty has the same type of pocket. That's where the bomb was inserted.
I had put my medicine for my coughing fits inside Bumrap Riney. When I told Apollo about it, he said he'd help me go look for him. There was so much rubble in there. I was worried, but there was no rubble or anything in front of the witness stand. So when we got inside, Apollo went straight there. and started looking for my Rhiney in that area. It was so nice of him to do that for me, in spite of all his injuries. Apollo was so strong and kind, just like the trees of the forest.
The way she makes him sound, you'd think Apollo was some kind of ancient god. But dumb, Tish. Oh, wait. So that's why you went to the ruins, I see. That seems to be quite an important fact. Please add it to your testimony, Miss Woods.
Apollo started looking for Bum Rap Rhiney near the witness stand, where there was no rubble.
Hold it!
The area around the witness stand. Are you sure about that?
I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
No, of course not. I was just testing my hearing. Must not upset her. Must not upset her.
Yes, I'm sure that's where we searched first.
We'll see about that. I think she's not quite telling the truth there.
But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony.
Hold it!
That was when you were called to the stand after Mr. Tonate's testimony, right?
Yes, the bailiff came to courtroom number 4 and brought me back to this courtroom. So what the hell?
Well, that's my question.
Okay, so the bailiff did have an active role.
He came to the courtroom, presumably stood in the doorway and was like, "You, Miss Woods, come with me." Did he not see Apollo at that time? Can't the bailiff testify? And what about Mr. Justice? Did he come with you, or did he stay behind?
Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4.
I'm kind of baffled. You have to understand, this does not feel like me missing something and be like, oh, there's a mystery I don't understand here. It's like, this really does feel like a plot hole. The bailiff should have seen this happening. Woods speaking to Apollo, then leaving the room, escorting Woods back to the... And that should clear her of any suspicion. She would have no chance to hit Apollo with the rock. She has a perfect alibi. So what the hell? Am I dumb? Or is the game being dumb? I don't know.
Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4.
Hold it!
I'd better not ask her about Apollo. I know, I'll use some small talk here to get her to relax a bit. Do you have any hobbies, Miss Woods?
Hobbies? Oh, well, I love growing vegetables in my garden. And I love to knit. I like sewing, too. I made this outfit myself.
It's a nice outfit.
Keep it up, Mr. Wright. It's working. Now ask her if she has a crush on anyone.
So, is there anyone in particular you like right now?
Objection!
Mr. Wright, is that question even remotely related to this case?
To this case? Not really. Mr. Wright, you'll refrain from asking questions unrelated to the case at hand. Sorry, Your Honor. -1 to brownie points. But that's the most important metric.
Miss Woods, please continue with your testimony. I believe you were telling the court about your attack on Mr. Justice. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person?
Hold it!
So you think Mr. Justice is kind?
Yes, very kind. He rescued me. He's like the sun, strong and warm. He makes me feel strong too.
The only adjectives I associate with the sun are sweltering and oppressive. Oh, here. Dude, I hate sweating. You don't understand. I really hate sweating. Like, I prefer being in shorts in the middle of the snow. That's how I like it.
But then Apollo got hurt, and it's all my fault, sob. Junie, Apollo's going to be fine. He's just like the sun, right? Well, the sun doesn't just drop out of the sky. You really think he'll be fine?
But the sun does go down at night.
That means Apollo could sob.
Mr. Payne, I do not think much of men who make young ladies cry.
Yeah.
So Apollo was trying to help Juniper. Who knew that Apollo could be such a sweetheart?
It must have been pretty hard on him too, with all that rubble everywhere.
Now that I think about it, there's something odd about what Apollo was able to do.
You know, considering what Miss Woods said just now, I think you're right. That courtroom was in a very unusual state after all. Which leaves the million-dollar question: what would explain this contradiction? Anyway, let's see what happens when I present what I suspect is our answer. Yeah, we want number 3 here. Near the witness stand where there was no rubble. But there's tons of rubble. It's partially surrounded by it. But hey, going by this franchise's rules, anything new that gets uncovered has to be it, right?
Objection!
So he started his search with the witness stand, you say?
That's right. I guess maybe he wanted to start from the furthest point in the room. He was being so brave, cough, and strong, cough.
But that's odd. Under the circumstances, he shouldn't have been capable of that.
But he was, and he still is. He might not look it, but he really is brave and kind too.
No, that's not the part I'm finding fault with. Someone has a crush on Apollo. What you are claiming is something that no one should have been able to do. But I should think that anyone can be brave and kind if they wanted to be, Mr. Wright. True, anyone can be brave and kind, but if you would please take a look at this diagram. With the courtroom in this state, how was it possible to walk up to the witness stand? Oh. You know, right, that giant boulder, it was so, like, perfectly shaped with even edges. I thought it represented carpeting. No, there's a huge honking boulder right in front of the stand. Duh.
Oh.
I see your point. The rubble blocks off access to the area around the witness stand.
Does such a tiny inconsistency even matter? Perhaps the witness is simply misremembering it.
Ugh. Great. Now I'm not so sure it matters.
A real man doesn't make mountains out of molehills, you know.
But that's precisely what Mr. Wright does best. I call slander, Your Honor. So, was it really impossible to approach the witness stand? I have to say, it's a bit hard to tell with any accuracy from just this diagram. Mr. Payne, do you have any other photos of the crime scene?
Let me see, Your Honor. Ah, yes, I have one more. Here it is.
Oh. Yeah, yep. So the bit of the floor is missing. Someone moved it. Oh.
Here it is. It's a more pulled back version of the photo I presented before.
Right, so it's not a rock blocking it, it's the cart. Huh. Huh? What's that hunk of metal on wheels? Mr. Payne, is the metallic object in that photo Mr. Tonate's bomb transport case?
That's right. Is there some problem?
Oh yes, that transport case was there in courtroom number 4 when the bomb went off. It must have been there ever since.
Oh, that's it?
Miss Woods, have you remembered something?
Yes, I just realized. Its position. It's different from before.
Its position? The position of what?
The position of that big metal thing.
The bomb transport case?
Yes, when Apollo and I went there, it was in a different place. Where the case is in the photo was open space, so it was easy to search the stand.
I see. So where was the transport case when you and Mr. Justice saw it?
As I recall, I think it was more to the right.
To the right? Then that means... In that case, the case was over there at the time of Apollo's attack? Huh.
Who cares where the transport case was when? What difference does it make? It has nothing at all to do with what we were talking about.
Objection!
Where the transport case was has everything to do with this discussion. In fact, it's so important that it's enough to turn the prosecution's argument on its ear.
What?
Well, that certainly sounds very relevant indeed. And you sound as though you know where the case was at the time of the attack. Yes, Your Honor. This diagram represents the crime scene as shown in the photo. And this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault on Mr. Justice. Alright, I have this. The bomb transport case was here at the time of Apollo's attack. It was right here, meaning it should have been impossible for Apollo to write this.
Take that!
Your Honor, I assert that this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault. But that's...
Inconceivable!
You keep using that word. Miss Woods, was this where the transport case was when you saw it?
Yes, that's where it was.
Thank you, Miss Woods. I'm sure the court has noted an interesting fact about this position. The transport case covers up the writing in blood. Exactly. If the transport case was in that position at the time of the assault, then no message could have been written there because the case was in the way. Which leads us to conclude that Mr. Justice couldn't have left that bloody writing.
Objection!
Why should we believe the defendant's claim that the case was in a different position? She's obviously lying.
Objection!
The fact that the case was moved after the assault on Mr. Justice is proved by more than Miss Wood's testimony alone.
What? And where is this proof you're talking about?
It's right here in the crime photo. I'm keen to see this proof myself, Mr. Wright. What in this photo indicates that the transport case was moved after the assault? Oh, I didn't even notice. Huh. Well, boy, I can point anywhere, couldn't I? But, Oh! It's not just the marks on the floor, it's the marks on the bandage. Oh, that's clever.
Take that!
I like it. Please take a look at the mark that runs over Mr. Justice's bandages here. I see it, but what is it? This mark was made by one of the casters from the transport case carrying the bomb. As the case was moved, it ran over his bandages. In other words, the transport case was originally to the right of Mr. Justice. Then, after Mr. Justice was assaulted, the transport case was moved.
What?
Just as Miss Wood said, the case was covering the writing at the time of the assault. Therefore, It was impossible for Mr. Justice to have left that message in blood.
No!
Got him there.
You did it, boss. It was a real nail biter, but you pulled it off.
Yep, that should bring down the prosecution's claim like a house of cards. Oh, is this gonna be a thing? Is Phoenix gonna keep making card references? That's fine. Order. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, that was a very clever deduction. Haha, it was nothing, Your Honor. Nothing but pure genius. Take that.
Boss, I'm sensing a definite smug and braggy vibe coming off of you.
I have just one question, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? If Mr. Justice didn't leave this message in blood, then who did?
Huh? What? Oh.
Well, looks like I should have taken that train of thought through to the last station.
Well, I've heard a lot about this. So this is Mr. Wright's famous bluffing technique, is it?
Yeah, it is. Oh, this feeling. It brings back memories of the old days. Back when you carved out a name for yourself by bluffing your way through thick and thin.
Gee, Mr. Wright, the judge kind of makes you sound no better than a 2-bit con man. You made your argument with such confidence, Mr. Wright. Now I'd like to hear your answer with just as much confidence.
Hey, until the judge asked the question, you didn't catch on either, Buster.
What now, boss? I hope you didn't bluff your way into a corner.
Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way through this. I have to dig my way to the truth somehow. Who could have written that message in blood? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the actual person wanted to frame Juniper Woods. Yeah, I think it's the culprit. If Apollo didn't leave that bloody writing...
Maybe it was Apollo's attacker who wrote it and made it look like Apollo did it?
That seems like the most reasonable explanation.
But wait a minute, I just realized something, boss.
What is it?
Look at the amount of blood in the photo. It doesn't look like Apollo bled very much.
You know what? That's right. There's not even really a pool around his head.
I wonder if it's even possible to write out Woods with just this much.
Hey, you're right. Good thing Apollo didn't lose that much blood. That might be a factor in why he survived the assault.
And since there was so little blood, that pretty much rules out his attacker, huh?
I guess so. But if it wasn't his attacker, then who else could it have been? Who could have written that message in blood? Well... Oh, I'm such an idiot. Yeah, of course. My whole thing is that... Yeah, I got so focused on someone doctoring the scene to implicate Woods that I forgot my original point that I thought of instantly upon seeing this. He was writing out the code. Apollo found the truth. The person who wrote the bloody message was none other than Mr. Justice. Pardon me?
What?
Huh?
Mr. Wright, didn't you just finish saying that it couldn't have been Apollo?
Oh, okay, I think I may have seen too far ahead in the script, and I'm not there yet to say it.
And don't try to blame it on old age.
How old is Phoenix right now? Oh, he's not here. Oh yeah, I did just say that, didn't I?
Not only does your head resemble a bird, but it seems that you have a bird brain as well.
Mr. Wright, please try to think before you speak.
Ugh, better give that another try.
Yeah, I was just seeing the other options for completionism's sake. I knew all along it was, someone else. Yeah. If it wasn't Apollo, who could have left the bloody message? Oh. Oh. I can't look at my court record. Did we have a photo of her body? How much blood was there? Yeah, maybe Candace found out the truth at the last moment. After all, we know she didn't die in the explosion. She was killed by some other force, right? I think she found the truth and Ted Tonate tried to silence her. I'm going with this. If that doesn't work, then obviously it must be Ted Tonate, but...
Take that!
To be honest, I don't actually have any real proof of this. But I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Besides Apollo, there was one more person who shed blood at this crime scene. A person who shed blood? You don't mean... Oh, but I do. I believe it was Candace Arm who left behind this message in blood. What? What? Detective Arm? Are you sure you know what you're doing here? Not really?
Objection!
What kind of ridiculous assertion is that? If you had said the attacker left the message to throw people off, it might have made sense.
At first glance, that would seem to be the most reasonable explanation. However, Apollo didn't shed enough blood to write such an extensive message.
Oh.
Oh, I see. Even the photo makes it clear there wasn't enough blood to write all those letters. And Mr. Justice did survive. I suppose he didn't bleed very extensively in that case.
But why would Detective Arm write the defendant's name? There is no connection between the two whatsoever.
And I didn't even know the lady who was killed.
I admit the investigation didn't turn up any connection between the victim and defendant. They had never even met each other.
That's very true. Well then, let's see. Then maybe the intended meaning of the message is not what it appears to be. The intended meaning?
Not what it appears to be?
Maybe the message was not intended to be Woods. Coming from you, that's quite the bold statement, Mr. Wright. You wish to assert that this bloody writing could have some other meaning? Yes, Your Honor. Huh. For something I pulled out of a wormhole, it could turn out to be true, right?
Objection!
It clearly says Woods, as anyone can plainly see. What other meaning could it possibly have?
Objection!
But Candace Arm was a detective. Maybe Woods only means something to the police. Like a police scanner code, for example. Almost there, barking up the right tree. I didn't think of that.
You may have tricked His Honor, but you'll never get the best of me. I have a thing for studying on the weekends, as you may have already guessed.
Yeah, you have no social life. Then again, neither do I, so...
And there is no such radio code as Woods in this state, dear Mr. Wright.
Is that a fact?
Don't look at me. I know as much as you do about police codes.
Enough of this. I was quite taken with the defense's new theory. But if they can't substantiate it with anything, then I must end things here.
No, please, wait, Your Honor.
Very well, but before we discuss this theory any further, I demand a plausible explanation. So, Mr. Wright, what is the true meaning of this bloody writing?
Well, I believe it's,
And no stalling! If you can't come up with an answer quickly, I will declare this discussion officially over.
I'm in trouble now. What other meaning could it have besides the obvious one? Maybe it means something in another language. Or maybe it's a code. Think, Phoenix. You can do this.
Which piece of evidence will tell us what the word woods really means?
Alright, well at least the game was making us figure it out one way or the other.
Take that!
The bomb transport case. I've about had it up to here with your shenanigans, Mr. Wright.
Take a look at the numbers on this case, Your Honor. L10015R. Doesn't this string look vaguely familiar?
L100. What does it have to do with anything?
What could those numbers possibly have to do with the case at hand? Now, please take a look at the bloody writing shown in the crime photo. Oh, I think I see it. Atta girl, that's one on my side.
It says woods.
Or you could say it's a horse of a different color, Your Honor. The first character isn't a W, it's actually an L and a 1. The next two are zeros.
Oh, my goodness.
The true meaning behind the bloody writing isn't Miss Wood's name. It's the number engraved on this bomb transport case.
Objection!
Man, I want to see how they did this in the original Japanese. And, like, all other languages? Huh. What are you talking about? The next part doesn't make any sense. The next number is a 1, but the bloody writing says D.
Objection!
But the number on the case and the bloody writing can be made to match up quite easily. This is how the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. One. Looks like the 1 would be the left part of the D, and the addition would be... It would be the curve around? Read it backwards. Read it backwards? Well, no, we established that W is the... L1, right? Could that W be a R? RD, no. That S is clearly the 5, right? And we know that there's missing rubble. Huh? L10015R. L10015R. We know the R is partially missing because the broken rubble was probably moved. How do you erase 2 lines from a 1 to get a curve like that? Or erase 1 line from the 1 to get the... Huh? And read it backwards doesn't work because there's no way you could interpret the W as being an R. Or...
I don't get it. My brain isn't braining. Fine, I guess I'll just guess randomly. Read it backwards. I propose we read it backwards. Let's see. Reading it from the back end, we get stool. I see, and what does that mean? I believe there was someone connected to the case by the name of S. Dool. Wasn't there, Your Honor? And who in the world is S. Dool supposed to be, boss? I'm afraid there is no such person connected to the case. Yes, well, I guess I expected as much. If you knew, then why did you ask? Okay, erase one line. All you have to do is erase one line from the writing. Erase one line from where? Anywhere you like. Anywhere I'd like. Alright, I'll erase one of the O's. Wads? And what is that supposed to mean? Your state of mind. I believe it stands for wise, optimistic, dauntless, and serene. Boss, what in the world? This is no time for a psychology test. I can't say my state of mind is exactly serene right now, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna feel like an idiot when this gets explained to me. Mr. Wright, please refrain from making things up as you go along. Now try again. This is how the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. Erase two lines. Please erase the third downward stroke of the W and the curved part of the D. Oh. I thought... oh. I thought it was talking about the other... oh, okay. Well, would you look at that? Lewis. No, Your Honor, it isn't meant to be read as a word. It's the number L10015, which, if you take away the final R, is the exact same number that's on the bomb transport case.
Objection!
Erase two lines and they match up, you say? Well, I can change anything into anything else simply by erasing two lines. What if we erase two lines from your name? Would you be happy as Mr. Wright?
That was... oh, right. Well, would you, Mr. Wright? The only right spelling is right. Okay, I'm doing pretty well here, are you? And I think I've drawn the right conclusion. Detective Arm's real message to us is the bomb transport case number. Your Honor, the two lines were added by the real culprit to intentionally mislead people.
What?
The original message Detective Arm left behind was the transport case number. But whoever assaulted Apollo changed the message. If you're right, boss, then what do you suppose Detective Arm was trying to tell us? Good question. What does this number represent?
Do you see this number here? That is my identification number.
Candace Arm lost her life in the courtroom bombing. Her dying message could only have had one purpose.
No.
To tell us the name of the one responsible for the bombing. Well, don't keep us in suspense, Mr. Wright. Tell us who she was trying to name. The culprit that the victim was trying to identify is none other than... I almost want to see what happens if I say Athena or Apollo, but okay.
Take that!
The defense wishes to indict Mr. Ted Tonate on the charge of the courtroom bombing. Well, there's a screenshot. Ted Tonate. Apparently, disabling bombs isn't Mr. Tonate's only specialty. Somehow, the victim must have realized that he was the bomber. So when she was caught in the blast, she left his bomb transport case number as her dying message. She used Mr. Tonate's own ID number to finger him for the crime. Why didn't she just write down Ted? Or Ted did it?
Objection!
Why would anyone go out of their way to write an ID number? Wouldn't they simply write the person's name? What?
I can't believe I'm in sync with pain. No, get it out. I don't like it. He's got a good point there. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? That only Detective Arm would know the answer to that, but allow me to offer a theory. Perhaps Detective Arm couldn't recall Mr. Tonate's name in the heat of the moment. As I recall, this was the first meeting between the two. It's entirely possible they wouldn't have been familiar with each other. Or maybe using the ID number was a way to hide its true meaning from the real culprit, thus lowering the odds that they would erase the bloody writing. But no matter what the reason, the important thing is the meaning behind her message. The fact remains she wrote Mr. Tonate's ID number.
Objection!
Now, just one moment here. There hasn't been any proof yet that it was indeed Detective Arm who wrote it. The bloody writing wasn't found during the investigation after the blast. If Detective Arm had left the message, it should have been found at that time.
It was under the case.
Objection!
Naturally, Mr. Tonate hid it before anyone could discover it. And there's a simple explanation for how he was able to do so.
What?
Mr. Tonate was able to cover the message up because he's... the first to find the body? Stickler for the details. Yeah, I guess he would be, right? Was he? Did they ever say that he was? Well, I still think that Ted killed Candace, so there's that. Let's go with that. The first person to discover the bloody writing was Mr. Tonate himself. I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. I went there to ensure safety, but I ended up discovering a dead body. When Mr. Tonate saw that the victim had written his ID number, he used the bomb transport case to cover up the bloody writing as a stopgap measure. Oh, so that's why the message in blood was under the transport case. He didn't have enough time to try and scrub away the writing. If he didn't report the body right away, he would look suspicious. So those letters lived on to serve another function, when Mr. Tonate used them in another incident. Oh, the assault on Mr. Justice. Exactly. Mr. Tonate hit upon a plan to use the bloody writing for his own purposes. So he didn't clean it away. Instead, he made it look like Mr. Justice wrote it, by adding 2 lines to the writing that Detective Arm left behind. He changed the meaning of the message. He made it look like Mr. Justice was accusing Miss Woods of the attack. So that means the only person who could have altered the bloody writing was the courtroom bomber, who was the same person that assaulted Mr. Justice. And that person is Ted Tonate.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have to say to that? I assume we'll be calling him to the stand now. Order in the court. Order, I say. It looks like we will have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. I get it. I understand why the gavel bothers me so much. It feels like the judge is doing the equivalent of Ryonosuke's feeble, silent hand slap on the tables. It feels like that's the joke that's happening, but it's played straight. He's supposed to have authoritative smashing on the desk with his gavel. It is, okay. It looks like we will have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. Mr. Payne, please have Mr. Tonate take the witness stand.
Yes, Your Honor. That was great, Mr. Wright.
Just doing what I do best, which is flying by the seat of my pants.
Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try.
I finally drawn Mr. Tonate back onto the witness stand. Looks like you'll get your wish, Goggle Man. Now watch me take your lies apart. Hell yeah. Mr. Tonate, I'm afraid we have a few more questions for you. Which we will ask next time. I almost wonder if it's like one final stretch. There could be one cross-examination, maybe two. Either way, it's too long for right now. Maybe a younger, sprier me would have gone for it and just wrapped up this case right here, but no. I'm about to turn 30. I'm tired, my bones ache. The cold is setting in, I'm becoming an old man. Yeah. Odds are we'll finish this case maybe like 40 minutes into the next video. So we'll probably start up case number 2 right away then. Probably. We'll see how I feel. So yeah, it doesn't bode well that I've taken so many hits to the life bar in the very first case, but hey, you know me, I've always scraped through somehow. I think I have game over like twice or 3 times. But usually when I'm desperate, I just look up a guide or something. I still plan on doing that, mind you, so just saying that right now, get your expectations in check. I will look up a guide, and if I ever do, I will say why, and let you know when I do, okay? I almost have to wonder if the missing bit of rubble with the bloody R on it will actually be relevant. Maybe that's the very piece that was used to stone Apollo in the back of the head? Hard to say. Well, yeah, I guess this slimy guy's gonna go to jail not only for assault and attempted murder, but also, you know, straight up murder. He killed his own coworker. Well, they met for the first time, but they're in the same business. That's like family, right? Yeah. Anything to drive up another charge. So, my thoughts are turning to the future. I have to wonder just how in the world this game is gonna handle having 3 protagonists. Maybe they'll like cycle out, rotate, you know, I don't know. They clearly went to great pains to have Apollo out of the picture here, but he's gotta be recovering in hale and hearty by the time the next case rolls around, so what are they gonna do next? Maybe they'll like split up and like instead of like physically traveling to different sites and locations, you just swap who you're controlling and do different investigations, and then everyone puts their thoughts together at the end of the day and formulates a plan based on that. That could be cool. I am also wondering who in the hell is going to be prosecutor? Oh shoot, how did Ace Attorney 4 end? It was Kristoff who was exposed for crimes, right? Was Clavier I forget, did Clavier go to jail? I forget. Honestly, I really don't care at all about Clavier and Kristoff. Those characters do nothing for me, and I remember nothing about them except their appearances and that Clavier was in a band, the Shark Man. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. Those characters just did nothing for me. Again, I did really, really love Ace Attorney 4. It's one of my favorites in this series, definitely. I wouldn't mind seeing Miles again, like, as much as I love Phoenix and Apollo and Ryunosuke. No, Miles is my boy. He is my boy. I want to see him. Could be Franziska, or, you know, it could be someone brand new. That'd be nice, too. Oh, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Dual Destinies. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.